I'd like to welcome y'all to Emotional Stimulation. Just in case you're wondering what emotional stimulation stands for, who is that guy behind the camera? Just give you a little something about emotional stimulation. It's just a place where myself later on and a few other people join me. We just kind of get together and talk about a few topics, about relationships, about sex, about love. But for today, I'm just going to discuss a topic that I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and just kind of want to share with a few people. And the subject is starting over, which is a difficult process. Obviously, we get into these relationships. It's quite, it's difficult, especially like a 3 or 4 year relationship. It's very difficult to just go from being loved, or in some cases even thought that you were being loved, to go to someone new. In most cases, you've ingrained yourself into their life, and vice versa, they have into yours. Family, you know them, you got a good sense of them. Some of them may like you and some of them may not, But all in all, for the most part, you know they don't like you for the most part. Even with friends, it's the same thing. They're friends. They can, if you see them on the street most of the time, you say, hey, what's up, whatever. So you've built these relationships while being in a relationship with that person. These bonds with other people in and surrounding that person. And the thought of having to rebuild those relationships with someone new is difficult. I'm not gonna say scary, because dudes, we ain't supposed to say it like that. But in a way, it kind of is. But it's a very, very interesting process too, because you've gotten used to all the little things that she may do for you. Something simple. Like the way you like your eggs. You might like it with cheese. You may like it with this ingredient or that ingredient. When you wake up in the morning, you don't have to tell her. She already know, baby, you want some eggs. Blah, blah, blah. Got them. Good. With someone new, it's not even that you have to tell them, but you have to get them to that point where they know, or they will, you wake up in the morning, they will cook you breakfast. The next person you meet might not do those things. Now, for whatever your relationship was beforehand, it might have been good up until a certain point. You guys may not even be on speaking terms after the relationship is over. But yet you still appreciate some of the things that person, whether it's your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or whoever else, they did for you during that time period. A lot of times now, you don't realize it until after they're gone. But that's a whole other subject. But right now, we're just going to stick with starting over. And in a sense, you could probably sum that up, the whole thing up, into one word, and that's comfortable. Now back to where we were. Just to kind of go along with that, is that people have to be willing to realize and recognize the situation. I know it's because I've been there a time or two. That you have to allow yourself to focus on something new. Easier said than done, sounds simple, but it's a lot harder than people think. And what I say it and it's simple because mentally you have to wrap your mind around actually doing it. Emotionally, you're still gonna always have the baggage. That's always that's a given. Emotionally, you're gonna be emotionally, I don't want to say insecure at that point in time, but you're gonna be emotionally confused at that time. Not necessarily because you want this other person back, but because you've just emotionally been through so much, it's hard for you to just pour it into somebody else. It's what we do. It's human nature. It's how we do. And for me, I know, just I'm gonna speak personally about myself. Just I know it took me a while in between one relationship to get into another relationship because emotionally, still holding on to it. You know, I'm a guy, I'm a dude, so you know what dudes tend to do is we don't necessarily jump into relationships, but we hang out with people. For whatever it is, what type of relationship would be about sex, it might not be about sex. That's everybody's personal preference. But we tend to hang out with people, and that's tend to be the way we do. We're probably a lot quicker to do it than women. Women usually do the shutdown approach. I'm putting everything on lockdown. I'm celibate. I'm not gonna talk to no dudes for a long time. That's usually kind of how women approach the situation. Men just say, "Oh, look, hey, bruh, look, yeah, we done. I just broke up with her. Hey, we out tonight. Let's do it. Turn up." That's usually our approach to it. But even though that's our approach to it as men, you still find that for us to jump into another relationship, it's still a long and difficult process. Because as much as we don't like to admit it, we get emotionally involved. We get a little feelings hurt from time to time. Regardless of how it ended, especially if you really cared about her, maybe you thought she was gonna be the next Mrs. Such and such, and men, as I talked to a couple of men, known to be what we call sick. Women, we felt your pain from time to time, which is waking up in the morning. First of all, waking up in the morning, not being able to really sleep much for the night before. That breakfast meal that you had countless days, all of a sudden you can only take 2 bites of it and you're done. Can't eat, can't sleep. That's what we call being sick. As far as relationship goes, and for men, it's a process. All of it's a process. And the first step that I believe is that you have to transform your mental thought, your mental process of it first of all. Because now it's true, your heart can't deny what your heart can't deny. But if you mentally wrap yourself around a certain direction, your heart has an opportunity to follow. All right, now we're gonna talk about, this is part 2 of starting over. Just kind of want to go about getting into the dating scene, the dating aspect of it. It's the reason why I laugh. It's a crazy process, dating in itself. To start over, to get to know how to make someone else laugh when for all these years, all you had to do was say this or do this and that other person will laugh. To be able to just know that right moment to be able to do or say anything, it's a difficult process. to get back into that family and that circle, the inner circle of family and friends of that new person that you're dating. It's a process. Just the whole dating scene itself is a process, and people have to be willing to get out there to endure. And the reason why I use the word endure, because a lot of times you're gonna have a lot of bad dates, so to speak. You're just gonna have to do it. Now, if you were to, on your first date that you get back out there, if you find that perfect someone, then that's great. But oftentimes it doesn't happen that way. So when you get back out there, just realize and recognize that you're gonna have to find or go through this dating process of taking another person out, talking to them about the usual things. Hey, where were you born? How many sisters and brothers do you have? Where'd you go to school? Those things when you get to know people, on the dating scene. And always that moment of always trying to realize that you have to put on this show again, one more time, to put on this show for this person. The reason why I say show, because most of the time that's what it is. You got to show this person, hey, I'm this type of person and you should like me. So that's what I believe about the dating process. And I go a little bit more in depth about just dating in itself, probably in another video. But for now, we're just going to stick to the starting over standpoint. And just speaking to the process again of putting yourself back out there. Now, you don't necessarily have to do it emotionally, like I said, but mentally, you got to get yourself out there. And by no means, don't rush. If you just got out of a relationship on a Tuesday, don't go out that Thursday and be like, okay, I'm going on a date. You're not ready. You might think you are, but it's a great chance you're not ready for that. So take your time, because still, even though you're emotionally attached to a situation, you still have to mentally prepare yourself to start over. And after a couple of days or so, sometimes even a week, couple of weeks here and there, you're probably not ready for that. So take your time on that, because mentally is the first part that you have to get right in order to start over.